Here's something that'll stop you cold. Every single day, thousands of American drivers pull into a repair shop, hand over their keys, and walk out with a bill somewhere between $150 and $400. Not because something was actually broken, not because a part needed replacing, but because nobody told them about a simple reset that takes less than 15 minutes and costs absolutely nothing. We're talking about the throttle position sensor. And here's the insider truth that mechanics don't exactly advertise. In a huge percentage of throttle-related complaints, the sensor itself is perfectly fine. It just needs to be reset. The car's computer gets confused, loses its calibration, and suddenly your engine feels like it's running through wet cement. But here's what you're going to walk away with today. 3 proven methods to reset your throttle position sensor at home, ranked from the simplest to the most powerful, including one advanced reprogramming technique that even dealership techs use after replacing a throttle body. Whether your car feels sluggish, your RPMs are acting strange, or you just got a jump start and now your engine won't rev past 2000, stick with me, because one of these 3 methods is almost certainly your fix. Let's talk about what's actually going on inside your engine for a second, because understanding the problem makes solving it so much easier. The throttle position sensor, or TPS, is a small but incredibly important component sitting right on your throttle body. Its job is to constantly report to your car's ECU, the engine control unit, exactly how far you're pressing the gas pedal. Are you barely touching it, flooring it, somewhere in between? The TPS translates all of that into electronic signals so the engine can respond with precisely the right amount of fuel and air. Now, when that sensor falls out of calibration, either because of a dead battery, an electrical glitch, normal wear over time, or even a recent repair, the communication between your foot and your engine breaks down. Your car might feel sluggish off the line. It might hesitate before accelerating. The idle might be rough and uneven. In more dramatic cases, like that commenter who jumped their 2021 Dodge Charger and suddenly couldn't get above 18 miles per hour, the ECU essentially goes into a kind of protective confusion mode. It doesn't know where the throttle baseline is anymore, so it limits engine output to protect itself. That's not a broken car. That's a car asking to be recalibrated, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The first method is your starting point. And honestly, for a solid majority of drivers watching this, it's going to be all you need. This is the basic ignition reset, and it works beautifully on most modern vehicles when you're dealing with sluggishness, weird revving behavior, or a throttle that just doesn't feel as sharp as it used to, even when there are no error codes lighting up your dashboard. Here's how it works. First, make sure your car is completely off and parked somewhere safe. Take the key out of the ignition. Don't rush this part. Give yourself a moment. Now put the key back in and turn it to the on position. Not all the way to start, just the position where your dashboard lights come to life. You'll see warning lights flicker on, and that's completely normal. The car is just running its system checks. Now, move your attention to the gas pedal. This is where the actual reset happens, and the timing here matters more than people realize. Slowly, deliberately press the gas pedal all the way down to the floor. This should take you about 4 full seconds. Not a quick stomp, a slow, controlled press. Once it's fully down, hold it there for 3 seconds. Now release it just as slowly as you pressed it. Another 4 seconds back to the top. That entire press, hold, release cycle is roughly 11 seconds of smooth, controlled movement. And you're going to repeat it 2 more times. 3 total cycles. Once you've completed all 3 cycles, turn the key to off, remove it, and wait about 10 seconds. Then, start the car normally and pay close attention. Does the engine idle more smoothly when you press the gas? Does it respond with more confidence? If it does, you just saved yourself a trip to the shop and probably a couple $100. Now, if method 1 didn't fully do the job, or if you're working with a vehicle that has an electronic throttle control system, which is basically any car or truck built in the last 15 years, then you're ready for method 2, and it takes things 1 level deeper. This is the battery disconnect method, and it doesn't just reset the throttle position sensor. It clears the entire ECU's short-term memory, which can resolve a surprisingly wide range of electronic gremlins all at once. Park the car, shut off the engine completely. Locate your battery. It's usually on one side of the engine bay, and you're looking for the black cable, which is your negative terminal. Using a wrench, loosen the nut on that negative terminal and carefully pull the cable off the battery post. Here's an important safety note. Once that cable is off, make sure the metal connector doesn't accidentally brush up against anything metallic. A momentary short circuit won't help anyone. Now leave that cable disconnected for a solid 5 to 10 minutes. This is the part where people get impatient and rush. And rushing is exactly why they end up repeating the process. After the 10 minutes are up, reconnect the negative cable and tighten it back down. Insert the key and turn to the on position without starting the engine. Let the dashboard run its full system check. Then start the car, and here's the critical step. Let it idle for 10 to 15 minutes without touching the gas pedal. What's happening during that idle time is the ECU is relearning the throttle's baseline position from scratch. After the idle period, turn the car off, restart it, and test the throttle response. For most vehicles, this combination of a full ECU clear and idle relearn is more than enough to get things running right again. But let's say you've tried both methods and something still isn't right. Or maybe you've just replaced your throttle body entirely. Or you're dealing with persistent error codes specifically pointing to the TPS. This is when you move to method 3, and this is the one that earns its reputation as the most reliable option when everything else has been exhausted. This is throttle position sensor reprogramming, and it mimics the relearn procedure that a dealership technician would initiate after a major throttle system repair. Start with the engine completely cold and turned off. This matters because heat can affect sensor readings during the relearn process. Disconnect the negative battery cable with a wrench and wait 2 full minutes. Shorter this time, but still important. Reconnect the cable. Now turn the key to the on position without starting the engine and do something a little different this time. Walk around to the front of the car and stand near the engine bay. Listen carefully. Within a few seconds, you'll hear a soft, subtle buzzing or humming coming from the throttle body itself. That sound means the throttle motor is physically moving, learning its full range from fully closed to fully open. The system is mapping itself. This process typically takes 3 to 5 minutes, and you want to let it complete entirely without interrupting it. Once the buzzing stops, turn the key off and remove it. Then start the engine and let it idle again for 10 to 15 minutes. This post-relearn idle is crucial. The ECU is now integrating the new positional data it just gathered and calibrating fuel delivery around it. After the idle period, take the car for a short test drive. Nothing aggressive, just enough to feel how the throttle responds. In most cases, after this procedure, drivers notice a noticeably smoother, more linear response from the gas pedal. Now, before you close this video and head out to the garage, there's one maintenance tip that directly affects how long your throttle reset actually lasts. The throttle body itself needs to be kept clean. Carbon deposits and grime build up inside the throttle bore over time, and when they do, they physically interfere with the throttle plate's movement and throw off TPS calibration all over again. A good rule of thumb is to clean your throttle body every 20,000 miles, and when you do, use a dedicated throttle body cleaner. Something like CRC throttle body cleaner. Never use carburetor spray, paint thinner, or gasoline. Those can strip the protective coatings inside modern throttle bodies and cause more damage than they fix. Here's the bottom line. A sluggish throttle, a rough idle, a car that suddenly won't accelerate properly after a battery issue, none of those automatically mean an expensive repair. In a massive number of cases, the fix is right here. A basic ignition reset, a battery disconnect and relearn, or a full reprogramming sequence. You now have all 3 tools in your hands. Use the simplest one first, move up the ladder if needed, and give your car's computer the chance to recalibrate before you ever hand your keys to a mechanic. Until next time, drive smart and take care of that engine.